afternoon. I'm Mahalia Joseph and C News is live at noon.
And I'm Video Rampo with sports.
Topping the news at this time, Dale Seacharan has been charged with the murder of 20-year-old Shannon Banfield. It's understood that Seacharan was rearrested by police at 9 p.m. on Monday. Officers have gone to the office of the DPP to receive instructions concerning the case and obtained instructions to lay charges against the IAM employee sometime this morning. Seacharan is expected to appear in the Port of Spain 8th Court sometime today. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is also expected to make a statement on the Shannon Banfield case later on today. Ms. Banfield was last seen alive on December 5th entering IAM and Company building along Charlotte Street. The search for the 20-year-old Republic Bank clerk ended when her body was discovered in a small room on the upper floor of the building on December 8th. Seacharan's rearrest and charge comes some 6 hours after scores marched through Port of Spain calling for justice in the case. On Monday, the Banfield family led a peaceful march through downtown Port of Spain, and Banfield's mother, Sherry Ann Lopez, walked with relatives, friends and others to the IAM and Company building, where the 100-strong group stopped demanding justice for Ms. Banfield, women and children affected by crime. Mrs. Lopez also thanked the country for their outpouring of support for the tragic loss of her only daughter, which had generated mass attention across social media. Pastor Clive Doughton, who attended the march, appealed for justice for all victims of crime.
Some time to thank and to show our deep appreciation for what this business organization did.
The Bankers Association is again urging both the government and opposition to come together to pass the Tax Information Exchange Act. This in a statement after it met with members of the opposition on Monday. BAT said it shared its views on the current amended draft of the legislation that was recently presented to Parliament in December 2016 and which included numerous amendments previously proposed by the opposition. The association said it noted that the fact that the areas remaining for debate had narrowed considerably. BAT reiterated the consequence for non-compliance and the negative implications to the country, the financial sector, and ordinary citizens of Trinidad and Tobago if FATCA is not implemented. It said the opposition expressed its support for the country obtaining FATCA compliance status, and the meeting concluded with an agreement to continue consultation to ensure passage of the legislation before the revised deadline of February 2017. The Attorney General is appealing to the opposition to come to the Parliament and resolve the FATCA legislative impasse. Faris Al-Rawi made the plea, saying having both sides in the chamber is the only way the UNC will achieve its goal of having a joint select committee to examine the Financial Accounts Tax Compliance Act legislation. On Monday morning, the Bankers Association and AmCham had met with the UNC representatives, saying there isn't a need for a special FATCA committee since the government had made all the required amendments to the bill in line with the opposition's concerns. However, despite the unprecedented last-ditch appeal from the two of the country's most powerful groups, the opposition emerged from the talks, saying they were sticking to their original position of wanting a GSC on the FATCA bill. Both the government and UNC have been at loggerheads over the law, leaving the crucial international financial obligation legislation in limbo. And political analyst Shane Mohammed also spoke with the GMTT this morning as part of our special look at economics and politics this year, telling us the walkout by the UNC over the FATCA legislation wasn't well thought through.
In the Westminster system, when your leader is put out of the Parliament, it is tradition that the troops walk out together with the leader because the leader leads the pack. That's one. But I agree as well with him that this walkout thing is becoming mundane, frustrating, disgusting, disrespectful to the people's taxpayers' dollars that are paying you. And even if it is that your leader gets put out of the Parliament and there's the tradition of everybody walking out, it should say that you are not planning, your strategy and your planning is ineffective. You should be prepared that if I get put out today, boys, here what's going on. Y'all, whether it is 5, 6 of y'all, need to stay back and debate this thing and go down to the wire with it, but hold down our position and see what it says.
You're watching the C News Live report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. Police are trying to determine the cause of a fire at a business place in Marabella, and the incident occurred around 1:30 on Monday morning at Suko's Supermarket and Liquor Mart. Only the front of the building and the owner's vehicles were damaged in the fire. Police are trying to determine if it was a case of attempted arson with the intention of looting the establishment. The owner of the business, David Suku, told reporters he was at home when the fire started but escaped through the back of the building. 2 men have been charged with the murder of delivery driver Malcolm Dookie. 28-year-old Neil Grant and 26-year-old Sean Jones, both from Penal, appeared at the Superior Magistrates Court and were remanded into custody until January 16th. Mr. Dookie, a 28-year-old delivery driver from Bemal Trace in San Francisco, was discovered dead at Petrotrin Oilfield Road, Santa Flora, with his hands, feet and mouth bound with duct tape. Missing teenager Janice Hamilton has been found. Police confirmed this but did not give details regarding the incident. Hamilton of Ramkisoon Trace, Santa Cruz, went missing on December 12, 2016. Her mother reported to police that she was last seen at around noon on Saturday. Air Canada will resume flights to and from Trinidad today. The inaugural flight of the Air Canada service between Toronto and Port of Spain arrives at 3 p.m. today. Air Canada is resuming the service for the 2016-2017 winter season after dropping the 60-year-old route in 2008. Now for a look at the weather forecast. Today will be generally sunny and at times breezy conditions expected this afternoon with few showery interruptions. Tonight will be partly cloudy at times with brief showers occurring in few areas. Small craft operators, sea bathers and all other persons with marine interests are advised to exercise extreme caution if venturing out to sea. The OWTU is threatening to strike if there isn't a favorable outcome to the current salary negotiations for 2014 to 2017. The union met with Petrotrin officials at the Labour office in San Fernando on Monday. However, re-elected President General Ansel Roger issued the warning before entering the meeting. Mr. Roger said workers haven't had a salary adjustment in the past 6 years, and with 2017 approaching, it would mean 2 collective agreement periods have passed without any wage increase. To some other news now, one of the country's leading economists is warning that the economy of Trinidad and Tobago is in a worse position than has been reported by the ECLAC findings. Speaking to GMTT this morning, Dr. Raja Hussain said he studied the figures and the arithmetic isn't correct.
The average growth rate for 2016 is posted at negative 4.5%. Even that I think is incorrect. I worked the numbers. First quarter growth for Trinidad and Tobago stood at negative 5%. Second quarter growth at negative 8%. I worked out third quarter growth to be at around negative 10%. And if one were to use the average fourth quarter growth for 2015 and assumed that would hold for 2016, you will get an overall average growth rate for 2016 of around minus 6.2%, which indicates that this is the worst contraction of the Trinidad and Tobago economy on a calendar year basis since 1983.
The UWI lecturer also said he hasn't seen an aggressive strategy to deal with the recession in which the country finds itself, and what's needed is strong productivity incentives that will contribute to economic growth.
Step one, I think, will be to get people to work. as best as they could in the context of the existing hours. A parallel step would be to, if and where possible, in those firms where adequate policing and monitoring could be done, to change the worker hours where possible. That will not be easy, given the fact that the labor market has not shown over the years the type of dynamic to operate at full employment, at full hours employment, and therefore it will not be my first course of action, but it would be something I would consider as I move forward in improving worker ethic and in improving worker productivity.
Dr. Hussain also weighed in on the FATCA standoff between the government and the opposition, where in an unprecedented step, the country's most powerful business groups have held meetings with the UNC on Monday in a bid to end the impasse, but which have resulted in the opposition keeping to their original position. Now, this morning we had a fantastic discussion on how the economy and political situation has been for 2016 so far. We invited in two of the country's youngest but up-and-coming commentators in the form of Shane Mohammed and Amilcar Sinatan to give their views as the younger generation. Here's what they had to say about the PNM, UNC, party policies and politics.
On election night 2015, you heard Dr. Rowley talk about he was going to try to make the PNM more diverse and to find a greater diverse outlook than what it was accustomed to over the years. And we've seen him trying to keep to his word with his recent appointments of ministers and that kind of thing, because he's trying to broaden the base and broaden the attractiveness of the PNM to the greater society. And there are a lot, and you know, I'll put it out there are a lot of diverse people. There are a lot of non-Afro people. There are a lot of Indians, and a lot of, you know, what we call the Kokopayals, the Syrians. There's a lot of people who have gravitated towards that style of politics and that style of the PNM, because it comes across as being a little more structured and a little more intellectual. And that is where class and race comes in, and that's where the UNC seems to be faltering.
On the other hand, Mr. Sinatan from the UE Socialist Student Conference said there has to be parity between constant policies from both parties.
But what we have also come to understand that public relations does not match itself to policy and the distribution of resources. And when in fact, in spite of all the bright, intelligent, attractive, especially young people that they get to give us that image of diversity, what we have not seen is cross-race politics around LGBTQ youth, lesbian and gay youth. Those are Afro and Indo-Trinis too. And why they don't get any love, right? When it comes to issues around the decriminalization of certain things that are identified as drugs right now in this part of the world, we're not seeing a dialogue around that. We're not seeing progressive agendas on how we deal with technology and participation, when other Caribbean countries have gone into a much longer way around code literacy as part of the expansion of Wi-Fi, not just for Wi-Fi, but to be creators of content in a digital age and not just consumers. And these are cross-race, cross-class solidarity building things that have nothing to do with an attractive Afro-Indo-Chinese person. They say we are diverse, but they are real policies.
And if you would like to see more of this interview this morning, you can log on to our website at ctvtt.com, or you can watch again at midnight when the show is repeated. And it's about time to turn you over to Vidya Rampal. Vidya, what can we expect in sport today?
Yeah, a lot coming up. What's the next for the Red Force after their defeat against Guyana yesterday? Tell you more coming up in just a little bit. The Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board is set to face the media at 3 p.m. today to discuss allegations of sexual assault committed against a player during a youth tournament earlier this year. Details will be revealed later on subsequent newscasts. Football news now, and national winger Carlos Edwards believes that Trinidad and Tobago can still qualify for the World Cup despite 2 early losses in the campaign. The 2006 World Cup player earned a surprise recall to Tom St. Feet's training squad, which began actually double sessions earlier today. Edwards is relishing the chance of playing for the national team for the first time in 3 years. You would remember that Edwards had a lengthy career in the UK and has returned to the TNT Pro League, where he now represents Mapao Stars. His display for Russ Russell's team have earned him a place in Tom St. Pete's training squad. The 38-year-old said he was surprised by the call but accepted the invitation without hesitation.
No, never. You know, I always say it's a privilege to play for your country. It's an honor. And yes, I haven't played for quite a long time with the team and for the country. So this time, I think it's nothing different. You know, obviously, yeah, a lot of people might look at the age, but at the same time, you know, I'm enjoying my football still. I still feel good. I still feel I can contribute something to the team and to the country. So only time will tell, you know, how things goes. And as you know, as you rightly said, it was never a second thought for me to return to the national team.
Edwards was a member of Germany 2006 squad, Trinidad and Tobago's only appearance at a FIFA World Cup. The team also had a shaky start to their campaign before clinching a World Cup place under Leo Bainhacker. Edwards believes, just as in 2006, things can turn around.
It's new management, new coach, so everyone will have their different style. I think he has his different style of how he wants the team to play. And, you know, but obviously the guys need to mesh together, to focus, to pull in one direction. And I don't see why we can't actually, you know, start putting points on the board and climbing back up the table. And hopefully, come 2018, the guys could be going to Russia.
Now, staying with football, Blast beat trendsetter Hawks 4-0 to win the Eddie Hart Under-12 football competition. Going into the second half, 3-0, they survived an onslaught from Hawks, but they got a fourth goal from Jaronite Pierre to seal the win for the Arima-based team. Both teams may meet again in the Under-14 division, as trendsetter Hawks have already advanced to the final, while Blast will play their semi-final game after the holidays.
Well, we got back all our players, and coach spoke to us about all the mistakes we made during the season, and he told us how to fix it, and we did it, and that's what we came out and did today.
Future broadcaster there. Now, police won the first FEMBA FEMBA basketball tournament at the Tacarigua Sports Facility with a 68-46 win over Brian Chase Academy. Now, Brian Chase went on an 8-0 run and led 8-2 early in the first quarter. That seemed to put a spark in police's wheel, and they went on a 14-0 run, and by halftime they were leading 33-23. Brian Chase Academy coach decided to use only 6 players, keeping 4 on the bench. I'm sure they would have loved that decision. That decision seemed to backfire as they ran out of steam and were outscored 21-10 in the fourth quarter, giving police the win.
We didn't have all of our players, our key players. However, tonight everybody came out strong, and we were victorious.
Well, that's sports for now.
And that's how we end the C News Report at noon. I'm Mahalia Joseph.
And I'm Video Rampel with sports.
Have a good afternoon.